Have you ever stopped to think about the fans behind a band? What is it about the music that keeps fans coming back for more? Or is there more? My name is Renee Lipsmeyer, and I am the host of this podcast, The Space Between Podcast, the podcast where we talk about the fans of the Dave Matthews Band. Each week, a fellow DMB fan joins the show to discuss their journey with the band. Welcome to the Space Between Podcast. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Space Between Podcast, the podcast where we talk about the fans of one band. If this is your very first time listening to this podcast, welcome to the show. If you don't know the band that we're going to talk about, if the title of this podcast didn't give it away, well, you are about to learn quite a bit about Dave Matthews Band. They started in a small town, what was then a small town, Charlottesville, Virginia, in 1991, and they've never stopped. 35 years in 2026 is what we're celebrating with this music and with these gentlemen that have literally poured, whether they realize it or not, they have poured so much into so many people's lives. And that's what this podcast is about. Each episode is a different fan of Dave Matthews Band that joins the show to talk about their why. Why do they listen to this? Why do they continue to listen to this? How did they find it? Because with 35 years behind their belt, we've got fans from the beginning. We've got fans from the early 2000s. We've got fans that have just found the band, because that's still possible with this modern age that we're living in and how easily music is accessible. We're getting fans still of Dave Matthews Band. And so this show is no different. We have a fan of Dave Matthews Band on the show to talk about his journey with this music. And so here we go. I'm going to ask, okay, tell us, who in the world are you? Where in the world do you live? And tell us something cool about you.
Awesome. Well, it's hard to follow that up. My name is Jeremiah Huband, or Jeremy Huband is what most people call me. I'm from Richmond, Virginia. I'm an independent music artist, trying to make a name for myself. I'm driven by my passion for music. And there's no secret that this podcast is a huge part, and the band that we're going to be talking about is a huge part of it. But myself, I love anything music related, anything I can get my hands on.
So I want to talk about how in the world we met. How do I find my guests on the show? You know, it is a lot of people just emailing me, people messaging me through social media as the show has grown. And I started to move over into TikTok land not too long ago. And when I first joined TikTok, there wasn't a large amount of information or fans that were posting things specifically about DMB. So you go through the hashtags DMB, Dave Matthews Band, all the things. And there just wasn't a lot. Now, fast forward to now, there is quite a bit. And so the community of fans that are on TikTok creating different types of media than you would find on Facebook or Instagram or Threads or name all the different ones. And that is where I met Jeremy. I saw a video of him. And now you'll have to tell me if I get this story wrong, because I'm trying to remember, because it's been a couple months. So someone tagged me in a video on TikTok, I believe. And it was a video of you singing The Space Between. And it struck me because not only was it that song, and I love that song, but at the very beginning you said, "This is my audition to be on the Space Between podcast." And I loved that so much, because I was like, oh no, I hope he doesn't think there's an audition process, because there's
Right.
not. But also I thought it was so perfect, and the way you sang that song was amazing. And I'll be sure to put the link in the show notes. So if you're listening to this, look in the show notes and you can watch that video. That is how we connected. And then I don't know how much longer, or if it was that day that I reached out to you and was like, dude, I would love to have you on the show. And so that's where we met, was in the land of TikTok. So how long had you been on TikTok? And tell us about your TikTok, because it's not necessarily all about Dave Matthews Band, right? Like, it is, but it's not. Tell us about what your TikTok is kind of themed after.
So my TikTok is, the core of it is around my music. I use it as a creative outlet to express the music I like to listen to, the music I like to play, the music I'm writing, the people that I've connected with, the music that I help them promote their stuff if I love it, and that happens all the time. I started on TikTok. I remember I downloaded TikTok in like 2019 when everybody was downloading it, and I was like, this is dumb. Like this is just the next internet thing that's gonna come in and go away.
Yeah.
I think, and then I eventually started. I think COVID happened, and I started playing the guitar, and I started, and I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna be shy about my music anymore. I want people to see this, and that was when I started posting on TikTok. I remember I was very self-conscious about my voice when I first started playing, because I've never had any vocal lessons or anything like that. So
Mhm.
the way the way I sang day one is pretty close to the way. I mean, I've learned stuff over the years, but
Sure.
it's pretty close. I don't have any technical training. So when I first started on TikTok, I was like, I don't know about this. The first video I posted, I remember I said, name this riff. And I actually said, I was so nervous. I said rift, like with a T. I said, name this rift. And I played Satellite. The comment started flowing in, oh, it's Satellite by Dave Matthews Band. And then I started posting more. I played, I played Pearl Jam, Jack Johnson, Iron and Wine, Cold Weather Company, my own stuff. And the very first chunk of videos were just the guitar, and then I eventually got to where I would be able to sing the song, be like, all right, name this song, and then I would sing with it, and then I would just say like, ah, forget it, this is this song, this is my cover of this song.
Right.
And then I've been following your podcast for quite some time now. I want to say a year and a half,
Thank you.
and I loved it. It's amazing. And as I got more comfortable within my skin, really, I was like, I kind of want to, I want to share my story too. I think I want to, I mean, it's like capturing that moment with a fellow fan at a concert.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you love, like, you immediately have that connection. When
Yep.
did you start listening to the band? Like, what's your favorite song? What's your favorite album? What's this, that, the other? And I was like, I love
Right.
that. And that's when I was like, I knew there wasn't an audition process, but in the world of social media, I was trying to catch your eye. I was
And
trying
you
to
did it, man.
to
You
stick
did
out,
it.
yeah.
You
And
I got it right away.
I was like, let me just call her out, like, at the beginning of the video.
Yeah.
And
I appreciate it.
yeah, of course. And I remember I had some of the people that cycle in through my TikTok lives and support my music are also obviously Dave Matthews Band fans, but they also are fans of your shows. Like, that goes
Yay.
hand in hand, right? But they were like, I'm messaging her right now. I'm tagging her in it right now. And that day you commented on the actual video. You said, sending you a DM right now. And I was like, I remember I called my dad. I was like, I'm gonna be on a podcast. I called my brother. I was like, I'm gonna be on a podcast. It was great. And then I've just been excited about it ever since. So here we are.
I'm so excited that you're excited. This is such a fun thing, and I always encourage people, like, yes, Jeremy and I have never met, but if you understand the day of community, really all you need is one topic to have something to talk about. And when it comes to Dave Matthews Band, usually people that like to talk about it, all they want is someone that can understand what it is they're saying and understand why they're saying what they're saying. And so I have always found it really easy, like you said, to talk with people. And so if you're thinking about being on the show, you're like, I don't have a story. I hear that so often. I don't have a story. Everyone has a story. It may not be like what you have heard on this show, but that's the whole point, is that
Right.
every episode is completely different in how we found it, why we love it. That alone is a story in itself. It doesn't have to have all these things in it. And that's been the most fun, is just having so many different walks of life and so many different people around the globe have been on the show now. And, just because of music, are we able to sit together in a room virtually, but it feels like we're together having this conversation,
Of course.
and to just have an instant connection with whoever it is on the other line. It's such an amazing thing. So, if y'all are thinking about it, it was pretty easy, Jeremy, right? Like you were like, "Hey, I'd like to do it." And I was like, "Okay,
Oh yeah.
hey, let's do it." And then we just like scheduled it, and now here we are. So it was really
Yeah.
easy, right?
If you have so much to say, let Renee know and she'll make it happen.
Do
We'll see
or
if
if you have nothing to say, people are like, I can't talk. I'm like, okay, but that's where I come in. I'm good at it and I can get you to talk. So
Right.
don't worry, guys. It could be a 20-minute. A lot of the episodes are near an hour, but it does not have to be that way. We can do 20-minute episodes. That's fine. It'll be really easy to get through for everybody that's listening. So please, if you're thinking about it, if you have a love for Dave Matthews Band, that is the only prerequisite, is that you love this music. Do you ever have to have gone to see them live? No. I believe there are fans that have never seen them live, and that does not discount them at all. So there's no prerequisites. Love the music. You can be on the show and tell us why. And of course, this show doesn't work without you guys coming forward and sharing your journey, because I've shared mine. Jeremy, after we finish this, you've shared yours. And so we need all the rest of the people to come. We have over 200 episodes out, and that means look how many fans have already come forward. And someone did the math for me on Facebook the other day. They were like, okay, if you've already done 200, you only have 34,800 left to do, because we joke
Right.
all of the time that Dave Matthews Band only has 35,000 fans, but every single one of those fans goes to, like all the shows or whatever. And so,
Yes.
I have a lot of people that need to come forward, and I am asking you to please do so. It's very easy. I've put my email up on the screen right now. All you have to do is send me an email and say, hey, I want to do it. And it'll be like, okay, let's do it. And then we'll schedule it. Super
Let's make a
easy.
break
Okay,
for
so
it.
mate, yeah, see, so before we started recording, Jeremy was already throwing out like all the puns,
Yeah,
and I was like,
I can't help
yes,
myself.
I get you. I understand what you're saying. And again, that's another reason why to get together and just have these conversations. It's like you're at a concert or like a
Yes.
pre-concert meetup with all your buds, and you can talk about Dave for 5 hours. I mean, I know that I could if given the right circumstances. And it just works. So definitely be on the show. So Jeremy, first thing that I caught you say was, then COVID happened and I
Yes.
learned to play the guitar. What?
Yes.
Tell me more about that. Like, you just pick it up and go, I think today I will decide to learn.
Well, kind of. No, but my family has always been super like attracted to music, super entwined with it. Like I was telling Renee before the show, my aunt Jenny sings like an angel. My sister Caitlin, she can draw, she can paint, she can sing, anything to do with art, we try to get our hands in it, because I feel it makes you a better person in whatever else you're doing in life too. But so from a very young age, my dad is more of like a campfire guitarist, but he's also a
Mm-hmm.
pretty decent drummer. And so I remember growing up watching him play, my aunt sing, and I always was like attracted to the idea, but didn't really want to dedicate the time. And so
Yeah.
I remember the guitar was on the wall in the living room, and me and my dad were sitting there just having a cup of coffee or something, chatting. And I was like, Dad, show me something on the guitar. Like, we're sitting here just chatting, show me something on the guitar. He pulls it down and he plays the song Wagon Wheel.
Rock
I
me,
remember
mama, like a wagon
exactly,
wheel. Yeah. I
exactly,
love that song. I love that
yeah,
song.
yeah. And I remember just being like blown away. Like, obviously, I feel like we've all heard that song like a million times. It's not a very like deep cut, but it's a great song.
It's so good.
And I'm just like, Dad, you gotta teach me how you just did that. He showed me
Mm-hmm.
it's a 4 chord song, very easy song, and I learned it. And my dad was like, if you know those basic chords, you can play thousands, millions of songs. So
Wow.
I put it down for a little bit because, of course, that was a lot to digest. Then COVID happened,
Right.
and
Oh, yeah.
we were locked in our houses. And I remember just being like, okay, I got nothing else to do. I'll just learn the guitar. And I remember I was very ignorant, I guess, with like I remember like, oh, I know these 4 chords, I can learn any song ever. And of course, me being a huge Dave Matthews Band fan, I started trying to learn a bunch of Dave songs. And spoiler alert, if you're a guitarist, Dave Matthews does not use cowboy chords. Sometimes he does, but most of the time he does not. So I remember sitting there, and I was dedicated to it as well. Though I remember the one of the first Dave songs I learned was, I think, Gravedigger. There are some easy Dave songs, but I was like, I know these 4 chords. I'm just going to learn the Stone. That's my favorite song of all time. I'm just going to learn the Stone. It's 4 chords. I probably know it. Like I said, another spoiler alert. The Stone is is a very tricky Dave song. Like the riff is not easy. It's a stretch. It's not 4 chords. But I would sit in my room and I would sit there, and I remember Carson Mack. If you were a guitarist and you like Dave songs, look up Carson Mack. He is he has a whole YouTube channel dedicated just for Dave Matthews Band guitar tutorials. And I would sit there and watch he has a video on the stone. I would watch it over and over and over again. Or what I also like doing was watching Dave and Tim play the stone, or just Dave. And I would sit there and I would literally just study his hand, and I would sit there
Mm-hmm.
play it really slow. Like I'm saying, like like a sloth, a
Yeah.
slug,
Yes.
slow.
Yes. Yes.
And I would play, my hand would be hurting. I would wake up in the morning. I was still in high school, believe it or not.
Wow. Wow.
I would wake up, I would log into school, put my camera on mute, put my mic on mute, and not pay attention to school at all. Like not at all. Like not even a second. And I would sit there with the guitar and just sit there all day long. And before I know it, I'll be like, man, I'm hungry. Get up and eat some food at like around lunchtime, sit back down, and before you know it, my dad's walking in the door from work, and then play some more. Before you know it, my dad's like, all right, guys, dinner's ready. Let's have family dinner. All right, have dinner. I'm playing some more. And it got to the point where I got so addicted to it that my hands would be bleeding.
Oh no.
Yeah, no, like the
Oh
strings would be
no.
covered in blood. My hand would be cramping, and I was playing guitar for 12 hours a day, easily, probably even more. And when I got decent enough, it turned into something really cool because I would wake up, me and my dad would jam. At the time he had like a drum pad. My dad's more of a percussionist, and we would play some songs, and then he would go to work, and then I would
Mm-hmm.
play all day. He would come home from work at about like, I don't know, 3 p.m. or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And he would come in and he would still see me playing, and we would jam some more, and he'd be like, all right, I gotta go, be a dad and and
Yeah. Yeah.
do some adult stuff. I'll be like, well, you go do
Yeah.
you, man. I'm gonna keep playing the guitar.
I'm stay here.
And
Yeah.
then yeah, I'm gonna stay for a while. But yeah, and then we would eat dinner, and then we would jam some more, and then I would stay up until like 2 a.m., 3 a.m. playing the guitar as quiet as I could downstairs so I didn't wake anybody up. And then it just got to the point. I remember the first really tricky song that I learned where I had like a breakthrough moment. I know for a lot of guitarists, if they're listening, as you progress through really any instrument, I assume, but especially for guitar, you have these moments where you have like a light bulb moment where you're like, okay, yeah, I've gotten better. Like I've
Mm-hmm.
progressed a stage.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was sitting on our back deck at my childhood house now because I've grown up, we've all moved and stuff like that. But I was really trying to learn how to play Tripping Billies. And
Oh,
Dave Matthews, I mean, even still, I really only played Dave on the guitar because I mean, we all know like we love this band, we're addicted to this band. But I would sit on the back deck and just if you're a guitarist, you can sympathize with me. That is a stupid, tricky song. But I remember when it clicked for me. I'd been trying to play it for like a month, but then all of a sudden it just clicked and I got it. And my dad, I was like, Dad, get out here, get out here. And he comes out there, he's like, what? Did something just happen? Did you fall? Are you bleeding? What's wrong? And I'm like, I figured it out. And
wow.
of course, he grabs the drum pad and he starts playing, and we jammed over Tripping Billies, and it just ever since then, like I am just still addicted to. I don't play 12 hours a day anymore because I have to like pay rent and stuff like
Work.
that. But like,
Yeah. It's not paying the bills to play the
right?
guitar. Just
Yeah,
12
not
hours.
yet,
Not
not yet.
yet. You never know.
Exactly.
You never
Hey,
know.
there we go.
Yay!
There we go, dude. I love this. This is great.
We know you learned the guitar and you're doing a fine job. Well, one question first. Did you vlog any of this like as you were learning, as you started? Did you try to record yourself and that way we could see the progress, or did you just do it
Um,
very privately?
Most of it was done very privately. When I would learn something cool, sometimes I would post it to Facebook or TikTok or not really Instagram, but or maybe YouTube. So
Yeah.
yes and no. I mean, if you I have two TikTok accounts because the first one that I started, it's a whole story. They banned my account because they said I was driving while playing the guitar, and I was like, what? Like I tried to appeal it because clearly that I wasn't doing that. But if you are familiar with TikTok, sometimes they just don't like you and they ban you. But
I'm
if you
always
go to
fearful
my
of that.
yeah, right. It is scary because
Yeah.
I'll be like, did I say something wrong? Did I do something wrong? Like that's a good outlet that connects you with a lot of people, and when it just
It
shuts off
does.
like that, it's like, dude. But yeah,
Yeah.
early stages. I started posting on TikTok probably 2021, 2022, but I started playing in like 2019. So yeah, kind of.
A little bit. So let's back up the story a little bit because you're saying that kind of automatically you just kind of started playing Dave or trying to emulate Dave and learn the way he played so that you could play the songs that you love. But let's back up. And
Yeah.
did you even find out about Dave Matthews Band? When did that enter your life and how?
Oh, that's such an awesome question. Like that literally makes my heart like get a little giddy inside. But I love telling this story and I don't get to tell it that often.
you got
I
you
have
got a
me
thousand
and
ears here that are ready to listen.
right. I'm so excited. Me and my dad have always been really close. I've always admired my dad, and I've always tried to be like. I mean, a lot of little kids try to be like their dad.
Yeah.
Um, and when I was very young, my dad's Dave Matthews is a Bob Dylan. So my
Oh
dad
yeah.
loves Bob Dylan. And when I was a kid, my dad was like, I like Bob Dylan. So of course I'm like, I like Bob Dylan. And then I really dove into Bob Dylan even before I dove into Dave Matthews Band as a young kid. And I got to the point where I was like, you know what? As mind you, I was a very little kid. I was like, I'm only listening to Bob Dylan from here on out. That's that's a reference to
Like
here on out. But
every young kid,
yeah,
right?
right. And I had a huge poster of Dylan on my wall. I still have a bunch of stuff like old stickers, old cassettes, like a bunch. I was obsessed with Bob Dylan. Still
Ooh.
am a little bit.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
my dad was like, "All right, it's cool that you love Bob Dylan. I love Bob Dylan, but you gotta branch out a little bit. You gotta." And I'm like, "No, no, no." And he was
He's
like,
the one.
yeah, and my dad was like, all right, I'll meet you in the middle. There's a band that covers a Bob Dylan song, but it's still a different band. So like, and I was like, all right, I'll give it a chance. My
Yeah.
dad throws on All Along the Watchtower by well, not by Dave Matthews Band, but the cover by Dave Matthews Band. And I remember sitting there just going like, I think it was Alive at Red Rocks in the 90s, late 90s, and I was blown away, absolutely blown away, and I was hooked. I mean, hooked. And funny enough, this was when I
Funny the
was
way it
like in
is.
funny the way it is, right? I was getting to that because this was in 2009 when around the time this was happening. And the only reason why I remember the year that vividly was because for my birthday that year, my dad got so something that we did as kids that was like the funnest thing of all time is we would play Nerf basketball in our room and we had a CD player. We would listen to a record while playing Nerf basketball. It was like the coolest thing ever
Hell
as a
yeah.
kid. And my dad would, for Christmas, birthdays, whatever, he would buy us new records. And my dad bought my brother a CD called Big Whiskey and the Grugrux King. He bought it for my
Mm.
brother, 2009 when it just came out. He bought it for my brother. And my brother, he's human. He's not perfect because guess what? He doesn't like Dave Matthews Band, which is
And that's
how
okay.
can
I mean,
well,
it's not for
well,
everybody.
no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Just kidding. I like to give my brother a hard time, but my brother was like, "Thanks for giving me this, but I don't like this. This is not good." And my brother was like, "Do you want to try it?" Like, I don't want it. And I was like, "Sure, I'll give it a spin." And
Yeah.
I remember listening to that to Big Whiskey and the Groove X King as a little kid back in 2009 when it first came out. Just like I said, blown away. I remember "Funny the Way It Is" was one of my favorite songs off of that record, and "You and Me" obviously a phenomenal track. And I remember playing Nerf basketball in my room, taking shots from like the doorway from across the room, just like that, singing the songs and just falling in love with it. And after that, my dad took me to Walmart to buy something random. I don't remember. It was a trip to Walmart, and this was
Yeah.
back when Walmart had like the full walls of CDs.
Mm.
They don't have that anymore.
Nope.
But I found Under the Table and Dreaming while I was there, and I went up to my dad. I was like, this is by the band that you just got. Like, I have one of their records already. I got to try this one." And my dad was like, "Yeah, it's not your birthday or Christmas. I don't know." And I was like, "Dad, you have to let me get it. Like, you have to let me get it." And he was like, "Okay, you can get it." And I got it from that point on. I mean, I've just been like absolutely addicted to this band. I remember walking up and down and this is one of those, I don't know if anybody can relate to this, probably can, but there are like very weird memories that you remember very vividly that like I feel like you shouldn't remember that vividly. But one of those memories for me is I would walk down the hallway in between classes or whatever in elementary school. I was hooked on the song "What Would You Say?" And I would scream that song up and down the hallways of like, "What would you say?" Like, and all the kids were like, "What's wrong with this guy?
What
Like,
are you singing?
what are you singing? What are you talking about?" And yeah, I just hooked on the band. And then after Under the Table and Dreaming, I remember I got like an iPod Touch, and
Ooh.
uh, yeah, right, the iPod Touch,
Mhm.
that's big
Oh,
tech.
that's a shit.
Yeah, I was cool. I was the
Yeah, you
coolest kid
were.
ever.
Yes. I didn't ever have one of
After
those.
after that, I went through Under the Table and Dreaming, and then I went kind of like chronologically. I started with Big Whiskey, then I went to
Mhm.
Under the Table and Dreaming, and then I went like Crash, For These Crowded
Mhm.
Streets, Busted Stuff, Every Day, Stand Up, all that stuff. I kind of went with what drew me so much, even as a kid, and what draws me even now is the live Dave Matthews Band live. The
Yeah.
studio recorded stuff is beautiful. It's great. It's awesome. But I remember I would ask. My stepdad is also a Dave Matthews Band fan, and
Awesome.
he got me the iPod Touch. I went through that whole album like that. I'm the type of person where like if I do this with a lot of bands too, but obviously very deeply with Dave Matthews Band is that like if I like one of your songs, I'm gonna get my hands on every single song and
Mhm.
every single piece of music that you've ever touched, and I'm going to just fall in love with it. And that was me for Dave Matthews Band. Like I had playlists. I still have playlists of DMB Live. That's like people will come up to me and call me crazy because they're like, "Why do you have 8 songs called The Stone on this playlist?" I'm like, "Yes, they're all The Stone.
Valid
Yes,
question.
but hear me out. This one's from Red Rocks. This one's from the Gorge. This one's from West Palm Beach. This one's from Spock. Furthermore, this one's from 1998. This one's from 2003. This one's from. So it's like, is it the same song? Yes, but is it the same song? No. Leroy's solo is different on this one. Utter's beat is different on that one. Stefan's
Mhm.
bass has a different sound, has a different growl on this one. You know what I mean? Dave does
Yep.
a different outro on this. I fell into the void of listening to the same songs over and over again, but they're not the same songs. They're different.
I get
And,
it. The song
it
that's
is.
getting me right now, and they say that songs, it's very hard when someone says, "Hey, what's your favorite song?" Because that can change from minute to minute,
Yeah.
right? Just based on what you're going through. And like what you said, your brother be going through something, and you're like, okay, well, here's a song that maybe could get you through that. Like my song right now that I'm kind of living in is Mercy.
Ooh, that's
It's
a great song.
perfect. It's
That's a great
perfect,
song,
right?
especially for the
Right now.
climate of the world.
Yeah.
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 My
Yeah.
I resonate with that with so much. I did make a definitive statement when I was probably I guess in like early high school. I was having a tough time with some mental stuff, and I
Hmm.
remember the first time that The Stone, I listened to it on the way to a soccer practice. I had both headphones in. I was just kind of staring out the window, thinking about every mistake that like we all do as humans, thinking about everything that was wrong in my life, and then I was listening to The
Yeah.
Stone. And I remember in the car on that in that moment, I was like, "This is gonna be my favorite song of all time." Like, is it my favorite song? Like, does that mean it's my favorite song to listen to every single day? No. Most days, yes, but no. But so, like what you're
Yes.
saying, but that if I had to pick one song that I had to listen to for forever, it would be The Stone. And for me right now, kind of like what you're saying, Mercy is a really awesome song. My favorite song that kind of relates to the climate of the world is Cry Freedom. That song
Mm.
is "The future is no place to place your better days." What a line. What a line. Like that's insane. Like it's beautiful. Like and it
Mm.
just it hits you in your soul. It really, really does.
It's
But
such
yeah,
a
like
great
I
reminder.
yeah, the reality that I've found is that like it's the what we were talking about, that word love, it's so much easier than we make it. Like it's so much easier, like we make things way harder than they have to be. Because when you just open yourself up to it, everything else kind of just falls where it falls. And you don't, it's like
That's right.
when you unapologetically love, you don't really get like, you don't care if someone comes up and it's like me when I'm talking about my music and when you're talking about, your podcasting and what you're passionate about. When someone comes up to you, I get it all the time. Why do you sing like that? You sound terrible. I'm so unapologetically in love with playing music. I don't care what you have to say.
Right.
Like
Not everyone's
I'm
gonna
just
love
gonna
it.
keep just gonna keep smiling and keep spreading my
Yeah.
love through the and that's what Dave preaches. I mean, like you look at Dave's life and you look at all of the tragedies and the hardships that he's
Mhm.
gone through. We were talking before the show about Under the Table and Dreaming, about how that was born out of him losing his sister. And
Mhm.
you look at a beautiful song like Grace is Gone, which someone can fact check me on this. I believe that's about him losing his stepdad, and there's also a little bit of heartbreak in that as well. but you just look at
Mm.
the way that Dave just rebounds that into love. And it's just like
Mm-hmm.
it's so inspirational and so moving.
Wise.
Like
He's so
it's yeah,
wise.
yeah,
Beyond his years, because he started
yeah,
this a long time ago when he was not almost 60 years old, right? Like
right.
he, but also they are just such special individuals who have been gifted with something that is not gifted often,
Yeah. I mean, you
and
look, Carter's never not smiling when he's behind the kit. I don't know if you've ever noticed
right.
that. My
Oh,
dad
yeah.
is a drummer. When we're at a show together, he always is lasered in on Carter, which is hard to not be lasered in on Carter, but he's always like smiling is his favorite. Like
Mhm.
he's just back there smiling. He's just so happy.
He's
And it's
happy.
contagious.
Yeah.
It's so contagious.
It is. It is. I often say, like, the energy that they bring, like, goes out to the crowd, but then the crowd throws it back up to them. And it's just a continuous, like, feed of love and excitement and all of those things. And I love being able to bounce off of each other that way, because I do
It's so
believe
beautiful.
that they enjoy what they do, because I also know they don't have to be performing anymore. They don't have to be doing this. They've reached an age, and 35 years in, I'm sure, a lot of people at these ages retire and do other things, or after 35 years of anything, just get tired of it. But not these dudes. They're genuinely happy, or at least it appears. Again, I don't know them personally, but it appears that they absolutely love what they're doing. And with Dave being out and being so vocal about all of the different things outside of the music, he's just really trying in every way possible, whether it's on the stage, taking a walk, whatever, of just, why are we not loving? Why are we not loving people? Why are we not doing this? And it really baffles him. And I can tell that just from the way he expresses that he is just baffled by people right now. And I have to agree that I am too.
I'm as well. I mean, it's something that really makes your head when you hear some of the stuff that's been going on, and it really makes your head spin. And it's something that you touched on once again before the show. We should have hit that record button
I
sooner.
know, we should have recorded the whole thing.
But yeah, right. But something else that Dave Matthews Band does, and Dave Matthews and all of them do, is they speak up when something needs to be said, but they also focus, like they're so centered around, like what you were saying, there are still good things that are happening in this world. And we need to shine
Mhm.
a brighter light on those things too, because that ultimately is what is going to get us towards that love. You're not going to get a bunch of
Yes.
people to love each other by throwing a bunch of divisive tactics at people. That's never going to work. So what does Dave Matthews Band do? They say these are great things that are happening as well. We're going to plant
Mhm.
a bunch of trees. We're going to motivate people to exercise their voice and vote. Like that's a very beautiful thing. Like
Mhm.
we're going to tour.
Mhm.
We're going to play hundreds of shows over the span of or thousands of shows over the span of 30 some years it is just shining a light on a beautiful good thing. And that is something that you don't see. And something else that
Shine your light while you have one.
exactly, exactly. That's a good one. That's a point for you. We're gonna need a viewer to
I
tally
know.
up
Do we
the
need to keep a
references.
tally?
Yeah, point for Renee.
I,
All right, I gotta fire back
oh, thank
at
you.
when the time is right. But
I'm ready.
right, the thing I was gonna say that impresses me is that you were talking about they clearly genuinely love what they're doing. Not only do they love it, but they're also still wickedly like they have not lost a beat at all. Like there are
No,
bands
if not
and
got better.
I know it's like they're aging like wine because you look at bands that are from the
Yes.
90s, you look at bands from the 90s or the 80s or even the early 2000s, and then you hear them now and you're like, you should retire. Like in all due
Yeah,
respect,
something
like
happened.
all due respect, you just got older and you can't do what like you used to. Not Dave Matthews Band. They still sound
No.
angelic. It's amazing. Yeah.
They
So
sound different, right? Like and I like to talk about that. They sound different. I always say it's the decades, right? You got 4 decades of Dave, and
yeah,
each decade sounds very differently. You got the 90s, you got the 2000s, you got the 2010s, and now the 2020s. And each decade has its own sound, but all of them are beautiful. So
100%.
they have aged and changed, but I don't even like the word change. I would say
I would say like
maybe just,
adapted. Like they like adapted to their
yeah.
circumstances. Yeah, like
Yeah,
they're just
yeah. It's
they're just able
been
to
really
shift.
awesome to watch. It's been so
Yes.
awesome to watch, because not a lot of things in one's life other than family is in your life for these many years, or there are fans out there that have literally been part of this since 1991. I wish that I could have had some experiences in the early 90s. Was I alive? Yeah, but I was 11 in 91, so I wasn't quite as cool as I needed to
I
be
wasn't
to get
alive,
some
so you're one
DMB.
step ahead on me, right?
Hey, yay! But like, there are people that have loved this band for so long and have loved every, I won't say have loved every move, because there's a lot of people that are, still a little upset about some ins and outs. But for the most part, I'd like to say everybody's just kept that love. Like, no matter what they didn't
Here's
do and no matter who was in the band, they loved it.
Exactly. And here's what I will say to add on to that point. And once again, man, we really should have hit that record button sooner because there I'll be live on TikTok and like you were saying, there are some odds and ends because there are people who are like, oh, I didn't like when Dave did this, or I don't like when the band
Mm-hmm.
did this. There are people who come into my lives or on TikTok, or I'll see comment on sometimes even Dave Matthews like Instagram post or YouTube post. They're like, when did Dave ever, do this? And I always tell those people, I'm like, if so they're like, I've been listening to Dave since 91 and I can't believe he did this, or I can't believe you sound like this. If you are spreading hate, then you never really were a Dave Matthews Band fan. You
I
can have,
feel
you
that
can have
way.
listened to them for 30 some years now. But if you're not like,
Mm-hmm.
it's bigger than the music in that sense. If you're not spreading the message of love and kindness, then you never really, you can be a fan of like, you can like the way the music sounds, but you're not like, no matter how bad you want to be, you're not a fan of Dave Matthews Band.
Right.
You're just not.
I do like
That's the
to
reality
I
of it.
agree. I agree. And I like to remind people that listen to this, because I do generally paint a picture that the community of fans is this special place where everything is 100% love. And I can say that in many situations. However, I have, as we have all, met people who showed up and hated everyone that was there and told you to your face that they hated you. And I'm like, why are you here?
Yeah.
Why are
And
you
yeah,
here?
I can tell you that Dave feels the same way because I think there was a video that came out. I can't remember what year of the tour it came out, but there were people fighting at a Dave show, which is like mind-boggling. How did that even happen? And you can see Dave get up and it's like disappointing like your parent or something, or like you're in the
Mhm.
principal's office because
Yeah.
Dave is like, get out, you get out now.
Yeah.
It's like
There's no
there
room for hate, man.
yeah,
No
Dave
room.
Dave doesn't even consider those people fans because guess what? He told them to get out.
Yeah.
So like the
Get out of here. You don't belong
exactly,
here.
exactly. The rules
Yeah,
are simple.
the rules are simple, but with 35 years, yeah, we've picked up, and there are such things as fair weather fans, right? Like, well,
Yeah,
hey man,
for
I
sure.
love that. It's nostalgic. Like, I heard that in high school, I heard that in college, I heard that whatever on the radio, blah 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 blah. There are those fans. However, there's another section of fans that do Dave a little differently. And I hope that when I'm looked upon, that I get to be part of that part, where people look at my life or what I'm doing. And then the same with you. I know that you have the same hopes, like that, okay, she was in that because she loved the music, but she loved people and she showed that with her actions and all of that. Are we perfect? We talked about that earlier. No,
Yeah,
I'm going to fuck up a lot of times in my life. That's because I'm a human. Okay. I'm a human, same as you. But it's such a beautiful thing in its entirety, though. Like, there's not a lot of things in this world right now that I can name off where, just off the top of my head, and I know that I'm not aware of everything that's going on in the world, because you live where you live, and this, you don't know till you know. But there's not a lot of stories or not a lot of shows, and if there is, let me know, that are just highlighting what's good going on right now. What's some good going on right now? Where's some love being shed because this world needs this right now? Where can we go to find that? Well, I
yeah,
I believe that you can find that within the Dave Matthews Band, but also in the community that surrounds it. Not all of it, but in a lot of it, you can find that. So I want to talk about your musical influences, because I know that you do have some other than DMB. We all love DMB. We all listen to other things. And I'll go first. What are some other things I listen to? I'm and forever going to be a big Taylor Swift fan. I feel like I didn't grow up with her. She's 10 years younger than me. But I do also feel like I grew up with her, from the moment she opened her mouth as a little country music star, and to watch her grow into what she is now, which is such an amazing woman that can that is a household name, right? I like 90s R&B. I listen to a lot of rap, a lot. Like one time I went to SPAC and somebody called me Biggie Smalls from Arkansas. I was
That's
like,
funny.
yes, that's me. I love it. But I grew up in the 90s and like there was so much going on in the 90s. Like, yes, there was Dave Matthews Band. I wasn't quite that cool then, but like, sure, like all you can't ignore it. Like you cannot ignore all that stuff. So I listen to a lot of music. Post Malone, I love Post Malone. We've really bonded through that music, especially his country album, which I am not a fan necessarily of country music. Like there are hints of it that I'm like, cool, that's awesome. You know, which one would think, hey, that sounds crazy. You live in Arkansas, but hey, man, that means nothing when it comes to music. But here's a band that I really like. You can learn more because one member of this band has been on my show before, and I encourage you to go back and listen to that. And the band is, I have a tiny little Christmas album here, which I thought was, it's so precious. Look at this little thing. It's so little, but it is a group called Cold Weather Company. I also found them on TikTok. So TikTok's doing amazing things, but I know that you are a big fan as well. So let's talk about Cold Weather Company. Cause I think
Yeah,
that we're twinning
I'm cool
right
with
now.
that.
We're twinning on
Yeah,
the
we are.
t-shirts. Look at
The
this.
shirt, the
Look
t-shirt.
at
Yeah.
this. Cold Weather
Yes.
Company. We love you.
Sponsor us. Sponsor this. No, I'm kidding. Sponsor this podcast.
Anybody?
Right?
Somebody?
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I'd love to talk about Cold Weather Company.
Let's talk. Let's talk about them.
They're another band that has gotten me through some really tough times and some really great times too. But I connected with Jeff, who is their lead guitarist on TikTok, and Jeff Patesha is also an amazing individual artist as well. But I was talking to Renee before the show again, but we really that's the focal point of this episode, I guess, is that we should have hit the record
Always
button
be
sooner.
recording.
Exactly. But I had the chance to play a show with Jeff, and I idolize Jeff. I don't know if he knows it as much as I, try not to fangirl when
He's
I
about
was.
to find out.
I know, right? But I remember I got to meet him. I got to play a show with him, and it was just like a bucket list item for me that like it helped me out. Especially I had some personal stuff going on, and that was something that I was able to cling on to, and I do that with music all the time. But Cold Weather
Mm-hmm.
Company is their music is so it's Brian, Jeff, and Steve, and they're all so different, and they're all so individually amazingly talented. So of course, when you get them all together in the same room, of course they produce amazing music. And something that kind of like aggravates me is that they deserve so much more love than what they get, and that happens a lot for many different bands.
Sure.
But
Sure.
it's just like I have their newest record called In Time on vinyl, and not to brag too much, but it's signed by all three members of the band. It's
I mean,
it, it,
brag.
yeah, it's an absolute masterpiece of a record. I mean, there's a song. The first song on the album is called Levitate. I believe it's the song that Steve wrote, the pianist who is in the band. I remember there's a line. We all have this with certain songs. There's just those certain lines, those certain lyrics that you just absolutely cling on to. And one of those lyrics from that song is leave on a light for every dream. The way he sings it and the way they like
Mm.
it's not like it's not like a crazy play on words or like, but it's such a beautiful lyric because sometimes the most beautiful lyrics are
Mm-hmm.
just they're simple, but you just need to hear it right when you need to hear it.
Mm-hmm.
And it just moves me. It really, really moves me. And that band, I've been following them for years now, and the fact that I was able to meet me and Jeff are friends now, which is something that like I can't even believe. And it was born out of Dave Matthews Band. Me and Jeff Patesha both
Yeah.
love Dave Matthews Band, and we found each other on TikTok over Dave Matthews Band. Jeff was
Yeah.
covering a Dave song, and I commented on it, and we connected, and then now we are really close friends. And actually, something really cool, and it's just something that I can't believe is happening. The Gorge this year, me and Jeff Patesha are playing a show at Cave B before the Gorge, like the night before the Gorge is happening.
2026?
Me and 2026, a Labor Day weekend. It's going to be absolutely amazing. So, yeah, and
Oh
we also have a show in Seattle a couple nights before that. It's just something
my God. Oh
that
my
I can't
God.
believe that's happening. I can't believe I got to connect with Jeff the way that we have. And yeah, that band is something special.
Oh, that is
It's
so good to
beautiful.
hear. That's a big
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah, if you're
Congratulations.
in the Gorge, we're gonna do obviously a crap ton of Dave covers. But if you're going to the Gorge and you're there a night or two beforehand, stop by Cape B Winery, and me and Jeff will be there playing a show, and it'll be fun. It'll be super fun.
Wow. Look at you guys from
I
TikTok
know, right?
to the Gorge.
I know.
Yes. It's like the universe going, yes, you're going to do this.
I hope so. I hope so. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
But
It's
yeah,
funny.
I
It's
have
the
a
funny
couple,
the way it is.
right? Right?
I'm going to give
Dang,
myself
that's
another
another
little
point
mark
for
right here.
that's
Come
another point
on.
for
You got to
Renee.
try harder. You can do this.
Oh, I know. What's wrong with me?
I don't know. Maybe you need more coffee.
Maybe, maybe. But I will
Maybe.
say that there are a couple other bands that just have a. You were talking about R&B. I am somebody who, if all types of art, if I can get my hands on it, I will. I think it's the Tiny Desk concerts. I'm sure you know about
Mm-hmm.
those. Dave did
Mm-hmm.
one. It was beautiful. But they have their motto, which I kind of like to steal sometimes, is that all songs considered. So when people are telling me like, what genres do you like? I don't really like it doesn't have to. If I can hear if I can hear the passion and I can resonate
Mm-hmm.
with the message, I don't care
Exactly.
what genre it is. I love Kendrick Lamar. I love Tyler
Yeah.
Childers. I love Counting Crows. I love Iron and
Yes.
Wine. I can pick from
Yes.
literally all over the place. I love Damian Marley, who's Bob Marley's son. If you haven't checked him out, he's really,
Yes.
really good.
Iron and Wine I learned from Jeff. Jeff introduced them to me.
Jeff and I bond over Iron and One a lot as well. Well, we don't cover as much Iron and One as Dave, just because Dave is more like fun to jam to, honestly. The
Sure.
Iron and One is
Yeah.
is beautiful, but when you're in a jam setting, it's really fun to jam over some Dave Matthews Band.
Yes, of course. Of course. So, when was the very first time you actually got to see Dave Matthews Band live? Because that right there, of course, changes your fanhood as well. That
It
moment. And I
does.
always say, you don't have to ever go to a show. You don't ever have to go to a show. We have the luxury of being able to go to YouTube now and watch those shows. So you can see, the differences between the music in a studio and live. So that's wonderful. But I know that you have had the opportunity to visit. So when was your very first live show?
Yeah, I bet that's a really good question. I will say, do everything you can to see. You don't have to see them live, but I highly recommend doing everything you can to see them live, because seeing them in person is different than YouTube. But yes, Renee is right. You don't have to. The first time I saw them live was in 2018, Virginia Beach at Veterans United Home Loans Amphitheater. I had just like really like not no not just really really gotten into them, but I was just old enough to actually be able to go to a live show and like
Hmm.
remember and participate and enjoy it.
Right. Right.
And it was my birthday. My birthday's July 22nd, but I can't remember if it was like on my actual birthday or the day after, day before. Anyways, they played What Would You Say? And I don't know if this was before the show or after. Once again, should have hit the record button, but still,
Going down the hall
what?
singing what would you
Yes,
say?
as an elementary schooler, I would run down the hallways singing "What Would You Say." So hearing that song live after loving it for years, and it being my birthday, when like that was like one
Yes.
of the most vivid
Mom, it's
memories.
my birthday.
Exactly, exactly. And everyone's like, I told everyone in my little section, we were on the lawn. I was like, guys, it's my birthday. And then when that song comes on, everyone's like the love. Everyone's pointing at me, going, "It's his
It's
birthday!"
my
Like it was just
birthday.
so cool. That was like that was the most vivid memory I have of my first Dave show
What a
live.
great one.
Um, yeah, it was so awesome. And then I've gone every year since, except for 2020 when COVID ruined
Sure.
everything. But I
Yeah.
remember, I think 2021 they hit the road again, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was
Um,
2021. Matter of fact, it was let me see if I can read that far. Like June, because it was Raleigh when they back up live music for Dave Matthews Band. And man, I got to be at that show, and woo,
was
man,
it
a
awesome? I
lot
bet it
of
was.
it was okay. Here's the difference between that show for me and every other show I've been to since. We've never had live music taken away from us, right? Not in my
Right? Yeah.
existence, not in yours either. And so after being kind of hooked into this and the community of fans and just everything that comes with Dave Matthews Band, if you're looking for all of that, it was taken away. We didn't know when we were going to get back. There was so much there was just so many unknowns at that time. So even to get to that show, I remember, we had to get COVID tested. We had to show all the things, our card. And so people that weren't necessarily getting vaccinated, I don't believe they were even getting to go to shows, which was a hard thing it was just a difficult thing. But we get in there, and of course they open with number 41. I'll never forget that. And because it was so unexpected for me, I didn't know what was going to happen. And there was just a feeling like in the air, like you could almost grab it, like you could almost touch it. You could feel it like fog all around you. Was just this overwhelming sense of gratefulness to be there. And that it just made it for me. And how Dave sang Singing from the Windows for the first time live, in front of people, and for him to, hand to God, he cried at that concert. Hand to God. Not a lot, but he choked up, and there was a moment, and I was like, this is such a big moment for not only us, but for them. And so that concert is everything. It was everything. And so yeah, that was a big deal.
Jeez, you were so damn lucky to be at that show.
I
You
know.
know,
I know.
you didn't get
I
that. That's a point for
happened to
me.
get tickets.
I said so damn
Yes.
lucky.
Okay.
I got the point.
You got one.
But I was at a show in 2021. I went to a show in August of that year, and I can attest to the feeling of like, I actually have pictures. Everyone was like, it was like everyone, even more so than normal. It was like, oh, we're all back. Like, it was like
Yes.
we haven't seen each other in so long, and we're all back. I have pictures on my phone with people. Like, usually when I go to a Dave show, it's me, my dad, or me, my dad, my brother, or just me and my brother. So we just take a picture just with your people. Right? But for that show, everyone was getting in pictures with people. I have pictures. I'm like, who is that person? It doesn't matter. We were
I
at a
don't
Dave
know.
show together, and it was so beautiful. It was absolutely so beautiful. It was just like you were saying. There was a different energy.
It completely was. To speak to that a little bit more, that's proof of another thing that comes with the community is the inclusiveness. At least that's what I've seen. Of course, it's not 100% across the board. In what I've seen, there's such inclusiveness amongst the fans. And you just pointed that out. Like, man, if we're about to take a group picture and I see somebody there standing by themselves, I'm like, get over here,
Yep.
like get in this picture, because
Yep.
this is all of ours. It's not just mine. It's not just yours. Like, this is ours. And I don't have to know you by name, but I want to remember this moment and see
Yeah.
those faces and like the happiness and the joyous, because we need those moments later on when we're going through anything that we're, trying to get through.
100%. I couldn't agree
So
more.
yeah, I love the inclusiveness of this group. Like I said, it's not 100% across the board. Nothing is in life, but
Yeah.
it's pretty much there. And I love
Yeah.
it. I love it. I love it.
But I will say being in Virginia is a blessing, because being so close to Charlottesville, especially being that close to Miller's, and I have a really cool, and Blenheim Vineyards. I have a really cool story about Blenheim. I was there last year in September, I think. It was my
Wow.
first time there. And of course, most of the people, it's Dave Matthews Winery, but it's not like overly like covered in like memorabilia or anything. It's just a winery,
Right.
but that Dave owns.
Right.
But if you're a Dave fan and you're there, like it's Dave's, because he has all the posters are drawn by Dave, and it looks almost like a Big Whiskey or Away from the World type of art, where it's like really, really cool. It's like, that's clearly Dave.
Yeah.
They had Dave playing when I walked in, so like I was like geeking out a little bit. Like a bunch of people there trying to just enjoy their wine. Like they're there for the wine. And I'm like, I'm here for Dave Matthews. Like I'm here because it's Dave Matthews Band. God bless the workers there, because they knew as soon as I walked in and they saw my face like light up, and they were like,
Oh,
come on. They were like, and they were so nice too.
yes.
They gave me a CD, a free CD that it was Dave and Tim in Mexico, but the art on it was really cool.
What?
Yeah, I'll probably never even open it, just because it's like it's so cool. They like showed me around the place, which was really cool, and then I got to meet the manager there. His name is Justin, I believe. Don't fact check me on that. But we just
I
had a
won't.
really cool conversation about Dave Matthews Band, and I was like, so, is Dave in today? He's like, no,
Yeah.
he's
Does he
not.
happen to be back there, like bottling
Just
any
helping.
wine?
Yeah, yeah. And he was like, no, he's not. I'm like, But you have met Dave though, right? And he's like, yeah, he's my boss. And I'm like, that's the coolest thing. He's like, yeah, Dave just stops
Oh,
by here all the time. And he was telling me stories about how cool Dave is. He
yes,
worked with a
yes.
lady. How does it go? My dad, when I started posting on TikTok, and my dad, being the awesome dad that he is, was showing his coworkers and like, hey, check out my son. Like I'm super proud of him and stuff like that. And this lady that he works with goes, is he playing a Dave Matthews Band song? Like I believe it's ex-husband, but like my ex-husband is Butch Taylor, and I have a Dave Matthews Band memorabilia that he can have since he's such a big fan, and it's just an insane world that we live in.
What?
And she sent me really beautiful note, and she also sent me pictures of like really high quality, like professional grade pictures of the band from like the Butch Taylor era, signed, all signed and by the band and by Butch Taylor, by the photographer who took it. And I'm just like, what are the chances that my dad works with someone that was that connected to the band? And then I'm like,
Wow.
it's one of those moments where you're like, that's interesting, that's funny the way it is, you know. So we've
And
got to
it's
stop
proof
using
that
that reference.
you get 1 point right there. But I'm also going to come back with, aren't you glad you took those chances? Take these chances, right? You never know what's
Exactly.
going to
Yep.
happen. Point for me.
Amen. Right. Right. Amen.
I love this game. This is the
I
most
know, it's
fun.
fun. You should do this. This should be a segment on the show now, like where
Well, I
you
don't know.
just go
Like, not
through and
everyone can hang, and I know that because, like, it's a whole silly what I call like a Dave language. Like, you can't
yeah,
just
it
bust that
really is
out in
its own
front of
language.
everyone because you're gonna sound kind of silly unless they know what you're
That's true.
doing. But
That's very
you've
true.
gotten every one, and I'm gonna try to while we're wrapping this up, I'm gonna try to think of some more difficult
I'm
ones to
trying to
see if
think of it
you
right now.
catch
Like
it.
I'm trying to think
Yeah.
like how do I
I'm
stump her?
making a
Like how do I
plan. How's this?
yeah.
How can I school you?
I
I don't
got my
know.
desktop right here. Maybe I can cheat a little bit and pull
No,
up
no,
some
you
Dave lore.
no,
I'm
you
not I
cannot
won't
cheat.
hands up.
Don't you
I'm
cheat.
hands.
This has got to be straight from your brain.
Okay, okay, okay. Don't hurt me.
I know you
That's
hear that
funny.
mama bear come out like, "Don't you
I
dare."
right? Right? Yes, ma'am. Woo, Lord.
Yes, that's what my kids get to hear on the regular. Like, it's like, "Oh, mom, you sound so kind on the podcast." I'm like, "I sound kind all the time until you piss me off, and then
Exactly. Hey,
and then it's a different woman."
my dad is the same way in the sense where he's like, my dad is like a very chill, loving guy, but when he it was like this growing up. My dad never really like even raised, he didn't even do as much as raise his voice, but when he changed his tone, or
Mm-hmm.
my name is Jeremy. Everyone calls
Uh-huh.
me Jeremy, but my full name is Jeremiah. When my dad called me Jeremiah instead of Jeremy, I knew.
Oh,
I was like, oh
you
shit's
were
about to
like
get real. Let
shaking.
me
Like,
yeah,
oh,
I was like,
what did I
ooh.
do? Let me get my story
Uh,
together.
and I just went, I did it. I did it. I'm guilty as charged.
Yes, I'm
Before,
sorry.
no, did you get it? Did you get it? Did I get her?
Wait, what did you say?
I said, I did it. I'm guilty as charged.
Oh, yes, you did it. Okay. Your line's
There we
down
go.
here. This is like such a fake, and I keep doing it like, oh, your line's down here. I don't know how many you got, but
All I know is that I'm winning. That's all that matters.
I don't know. I think we need to I'm
No,
gonna
it's
have to
even.
like
It's neck and
rewind
neck.
this. Sure. Let's call it that. Yeah, because
Yeah,
that's
we'll call it even.
I don't know. We'll never know. But when you listen back to
You
this,
never
like when it's
know.
live on the
You
air,
never know.
yeah,
You never know.
you're gonna have to listen to it and actually take score when you listen to it when
right,
it's live.
right. That's yeah,
Because you already know what you said, but you know you got to listen to it and you got to watch it
yeah. We
because it's
got
like yours, right? But like
instant
also have
replay.
some notebook. I'll be like, I'm about to take notes on this because I did some stuff that was awesome.
Exactly, exactly. That way, if I ever do another podcast, I can perfect my game and be even stronger
Yeah.
for
Be
that.
like, hey, you got to
How
get your
many more
shit
Dave
together, man.
references?
Like,
I need to double down on the Dave references. We need 10 cc's
yes.
of Dave references right now. I can just like
Right, right.
clear.
Yep. I mean, it's medicine, is it not? Right?
It
It
really is.
is. And that's something that I like to talk about on the regular. I know I shared with you briefly that, I retired from nursing in 2025 after a lot of long years of helping others and that was such a beautiful time in my life. But I'm so thankful to be here and to be doing this and to be sharing these stories and to be sharing your story because later on down the road when all this is over because we know just we're human, right? Again, we're not robots. We've established that a couple of times in this episode.
Yeah.
We don't have forever. with this music. Now, I mean, we'll forever have this music, but like we will not have forever what we have now, which is the full band touring, doing all the things. There will be a day that it will not be happening anymore, at least the
Mm,
way it's happening now. Like I can see everybody going out and doing their own thing or whatever, and that, that they're not done, but they'll be done in this form. What an exciting thing to get to capture, just your story, to get to capture everyone's story and to relive all of this. And so, again, like I told you earlier, in 20 years, you're going to rewatch this. And not only will you keep score of how many times you did
right?
really well in this interview, but also just we can forget things when many years go by. And so these things that you've shared with me today, you won't forget. We've made it a part of history that is documented, and that is so important because, again, we're not promised tomorrow, and celebrate we will while we have it. There we go.
Nice.
There's a point for right up
Nice.
here.
Life is short, but it's sweet for certain. I love that.
So if you
Man,
know anybody, for those of you that are listening or watching on YouTube, if again, we've talked if you want to share your story, great. But if you don't, that's okay. I bet you know 5 people that do, because usually Dave people know Dave people, right? I haven't met someone yet that's like, I'm a Dave Matthews fan, but I don't know anybody else that is. I can help you
no,
with that if you need help with
we
that.
find
But
each
like
other. Yeah. Yeah. We,
we do find each other. We do find each other.
exactly.
And so let 5 people know, hey, man, there's this girl out there that's really just trying to document this time in history, which is 50% of Dave Matthews Band story. Yes, 50% of it is just the music and the guys and all the things that they're doing. But guess what? They could not do any of this without us. And so I like to
Exactly.
remember there is this side of the story and what they've been able to do for us, just put happy music in our ears or really get us through some tough times or create a funny situation in our life that probably would have never happened otherwise. So I invite you all to just, if you're listening to this and you know somebody, again, there's no certain kind of story that you have to have, but please message me, email me. Again, the email is on the screen right now if you're watching. If not, it'll be in the show notes if you're listening to this on a podcast app. But here's another way that you can help me other than just spreading the word, because my podcast in the world of podcasts is never going to be a podcast that you see, because Netflix now has podcasts. I didn't even know about that. My podcast is never going to be up there, because we were talking about
You don't know
such
that.
a very no, I
Yeah,
do,
you never
because
know.
there's only 35,000 Dave Matthews Band fans, right? So like
Ah,
we were talking about a very small group of people, but the only way it continues is for people to come on. And Jeremy, you told your story, I've told mine, and so we need more people, and we need more happy stories about things that are going right now. I think people need these stories. Hopefully it gives people hope, which I said, hopefully it gives them hope. I'm just so thankful that you were willing, and I've had so much fun with you on this show. I hope that you have had fun also.
I've had
We
so
played a
much fun.
game and here's our scoreboard. I didn't, now every time I look at this, I'm going to be like, this was Jeremy and Renee's scoreboard right here. The
Yes, I
invisible
love that.
points on it. But definitely share the show. A few other things, if you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. That way you know when the next show is coming out, who it's going to be. Comment on the videos. I do very hard try to get back on there and comment back. Look at TikTok. Follow Jeremy on TikTok. How can they find you on TikTok?
My name, Jeremy Huband. I always tell people, and this kind of goes to your point about supporting, like local artists or independent artists or people who are just doing what they love. I always tell people that being there is enough. Like you don't have to, like it's a joke with if anybody who's from my community is listening, which hopefully they are. I always tell people
Hopefully.
like get all I need is your social security and routing number. That's a joke because like the whole thing is that like you being here and your existence, your presence is brightening our lives. Like, and that is something that, and especially in this world, you don't hear that enough. So if you're listening to
Right.
this podcast, you being here is enough. So
That's
just
exactly
know
right.
that exactly you enjoying this band, you enjoying this content is more than enough, is more than we could ever ask for. And we just appreciate the love and the support and everyone that's in this community. Everybody's happy and everybody's free.
Point for you.
Yeah,
Do you want to like be the ending of the show on the guitar? Would that be
I
cool for
can.
you?
Yeah.
So, guys, thank you so much for listening to this episode. Again, just like Jeremy said, thank you for just being here. Thank you for supporting this show. This show doesn't work without you. I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful that this show exists. It has helped my life in so many ways. And I've heard from so many other people that listen to this show that it has really made an impact on them as well. Just hearing the other stories from other fans and how we do all have this common link, and that is this band. And so thank you so much for listening to this. Jeremy, thank you so much for being on the show. And because Jeremy, we know that he learned the guitar, we know he loves Dave Matthews Band, we know he loves a lot of music, so what better thing to ask him to do than to close out this episode with one of his tunes that he's going to play on the guitar. So Jeremy, what you going to play for us?
Well, I was number one, thank you for having me. We talked a lot about I gotta end it on a Dave song. I don't want to be too selfish and play one of my tunes. Hopefully you look me up and you check some of my stuff out. But we're in this setting. I'm gonna play a Dave song. I was thinking about Cry Freedom just because we were talking about how much it's
Yes,
resonating with what's going on right now.
no
So
better
I'll
time.
play a little quick snippet of that and we'll get you guys on your way. How can I turn away? Brother, sister, go dancing through my hair. Human as to human. The future is no place to place your better day. Cry, freedom, cry from a crowd so deep and wide, laid apart, that this crowd will not subside. Let this flag burn to dust, and a new of fair design be raised, while we wait in hands in prayer, and fall into a dreamless sleep again. And our hands and feet are all in line, but gold between divide us. Hands and feet are all in line, but fear between divide us all slip away.
Jeremy, thank you so much for being on this show. Guys, until the next time, peace, love, and Dave Matthews Band.